It's the last day for campaigning in this year's midterm election. There are literally hundreds of races, but for control of the Senate, only a handful are critical. Patrick O'Connor has the details for us from Washington. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning.
So last day, let's start with North Carolina, where the race for U.S. Senate seat is one of the most expensive in recent memory.
Yeah, no, this is the most expensive. It's a natural battleground. President Barack Obama won it in 2008, lost it narrowly in 2012. Democratic Senator Kay Hagan really had her work cut out for her. She's run a very good campaign, made the race as much as she possibly could about Republican Tom Tillis, the state House Speaker who's running against her. This has been a real test of the Democrats' ground game. They've invested a lot here, probably more than any other state. So this will be a test to see whether or not their kind of data might will be able to overcome a bad environment. The other thing I should note on North Carolina is because it is one of the earliest states to close, this is going to be a good bellwether to see how Republicans or Democrats are going to do throughout the night. If Republicans win here, it's probably going to be a very big night. Almost assuredly, they'll win the Senate majority. If they lose, it could be a really long night, and we may not know the answer of who controls the Senate until maybe December or January.
Wow, that'll be a nail biter for everybody. And also, you said, that could be a bellwether, and it really does seem to reflect how the polling is nationwide. If we look at this, Wall Street Journal NBC News poll says Republicans 46%, Democrats 45%. We got a graphic on that, and that really shows you how fine it is. And the margin of error is 3.4%.
Yeah, no. So one thing to keep in mind as you look at election night is that Democrats are defending 7 seats in states the president lost. The only one that's really a bellwether is North Carolina. He lost it by about 100,000 votes. So this is really, this is a jump ball in national elections, and it's a jump ball in a local federal race. So, yeah, this is one that we're going to be keeping a close eye on and have for the last year.
Another one you're keeping a close eye on is Iowa. President Obama carried that state by nearly 6 percentage points in 2012. Yet the Senate race could go either way. Tell us more.
This is kind of everybody refers to it as the jump ball because I think, they've all invested in these expensive data models that show this at a 50-50 race. Republican Joni Ernst, the state senator, has made, I think, what a lot of people think is a much more serious run at Democrat Bruce Braley to get a seat that has been in the Democratic column for 30-plus years. This is the seat that retiring Tom Harkin has occupied since, I believe, the 80s.
Okay, now go on, carry on.
No. So this is one that it's just been very hard fought. I think everyone assumed that Democrats would have an edge going in. Their candidate, Bruce Braley, has not run a perfect campaign. But, this is, I think if we were sticking our finger in the air and trying to see which way the wind is blowing, this is probably the state that'll do that.
Okay. Now, Patrick, take us through New Hampshire. Republican Scott Brown, and he came to fame in Massachusetts. He keeps finding himself in tough races no matter which state he's in. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, this has always been a curious race. Democrat Jeanne Shaheen, she was a popularly elected governor, won strongly in 2008. I don't think any of us thought that it was going to get as close as it has, but this is one that I think has Republicans really eager and Democrats really nervous. New Hampshire it can be tough to read because everybody, for the most part, votes on Election Day, so a last-minute surge will really help a candidate. But I think this is really the Republican high watermark. If they were to win here, they don't need to. But if they do, we will know fairly early on that this is going to be a huge night for Republicans. If Democrats are able to hold it, even if they're holding it narrowly, then they still have a chance of retaining the majority. But I think this is one, if Brown is giving a victory speech before midnight, we know that Republicans are going to have this thing locked up probably by tomorrow night.
Interesting. Okay, tensions are high, a mile high in Colorado for incumbent Senator Mark Udall. Does some of the polling in that race have him as a shoo-in?
Well, actually, no. Cory Gardner, the Republican, seems to be leading in polls. But a big question here is how big a percentage Hispanics will play in the electorate. So a lot of the polls that we've seen are gauging the Hispanic vote somewhere in 5 and 6% range. That was really low. A lot of other people say it'll be in the mid-teens. Depending on how they turn out, will have a big impact on who ends up winning this race. the Republican Cory Gardner has had a pretty consistent lead for most of the fall. This is a really curious race because I'm sure, as most of your viewers know, this is where the Democrats really ran up their so-called war on women theme, attacking Gardner for his stance on reproductive rights. If it doesn't work here, or if Gardner wins, then it'll be evidence that that campaign strategy didn't work as well as it did in 2012.
Okay, let's go over to Alaska. Are people going to be up all night waiting for this?
This is one is only for the diehards. The polls don't close until most polls close at midnight Eastern time. Out in the Aleutian Islands, they don't close until 1 o'clock in the morning. If it's a close race, we probably won't know an answer here for maybe as much as 10 days until all the absentee ballots are counted. But they also, if it's 3-4 point race, then we'll probably know. The network will call it, but not after midnight. So you'd really have to want to know the outcome. And if the Senate is hanging in the ballots, people are going to have to stay up pretty late tomorrow night.
Okay, that'll be very interesting. Thanks, Patrick.